Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, is it? We are finally live with a nice AM session of trading for today. Make sure that we got the screen going for everybody here. Awesome, awesome. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are officially live with none other than the Lab Live today. Had a great AM session, and now we are ready to cook in some PM session. And if we're not ready to cook some PM session, well, we're ready to provide some pretty solid education for today because we went on a fucking heater this morning. Honestly, one of my biggest R days in a while. I'm actually up about 6.08 R, a little over 6 R for today. Incredible day for myself. Took shorts on YM, shorts on NASDAQ, 92 points on NASDAQ, and 197 points on YM, both within the first 2 hours of New York Open for today. So, definitely a good day for myself. Can't lie. I'm feeling pretty on top of the world right now. Definitely not to that extent, chat, but we're feeling pretty good. But anyways, just while we get started here, how is everybody else doing for today? How has the Monday and Tuesday of trading been? For everybody, for the most part. London session definitely was a trap for today. How's everybody doing in terms of trading? Are we following our rules? Are we being relatively smart traders? What's kind of been the gist of everybody for today? Are we making rational decisions, irrational decisions? Are we relatively making ourselves proud. What's kind of the verdict from chat for today? Just want to see kind of what the verdict is, how everybody's doing. London session, all good, brother? Happy to hear it, Wick. Happy to hear it. Alrighty, so for today's stream as well, definitely looking to do a mix between education and live trading for all of you. As we know, we had a very expansive session during New York AM, dropped over 400 points since 5 a.m. So post London session, we saw over 400 points in a drop, and then now we are seeing over a 300 point retrace now on NQ. So definitely a bit of some shaky price action, not one that I typically want to get involved in when it comes to trading in general, just because once we already have such an expansive session, it's important that you stay more sitting in the saddle and tradeless and waiting for actual setups to form and present opportunities that rely and give you better entry signatures. But as of right now, we're seeing a little bit of a chop since the 12 o'clock window. We've slowly grinded our way up. And now with this reversal candle that printed, the reversal 1 minute at 136, we're now seeing a bit of a bearish retracement here on NQ. So currently, it's what it's looking like for us today in terms of movement and general price. So we'll see kind of exactly what we can frame. But yeah, honestly, if we're feeling it in chat, make sure, I mean, toss a thumbs up, toss a one in chat, whatever you might be feeling, and let's get in some education for today. How do you guys feel about that? If we do a little bit of some trading education, maybe break down my NASDAQ and my YM trade, how exactly do you guys feel about that? Also, give it a few minutes here for some more people to roll in before we get started on that. See how we're doing though. Seeing some hearts in the stream here. Let me just get another post here, posting with the stream so we can get some folks rolling in, and then we will get the show started here. So let's do a little influencer-esque. Yo, boss man, what's up, Atakin? Akash, what's up? What's up? Howdy, howdy, howdy. So as of right now, by the way, just before we get into these recaps, we'll let a few people roll in. We're currently tracing into this 1 minute imbalance here. I believe I'm on the 1 minute, maybe I'm on the 3 minute. Enter the oil short. Very nice. So currently, as of right now, we see that we are tracing into this 3 minute fair value gap here. So we'll see whether or not we get a trend continuation. Because if we want to see trend continue higher, typically we want to see a trace into an imbalance followed by a closure above a change in state of delivery. So if we want this confirmation for entry signatures higher, typically we'd want to see that, especially because we did form the candle 2 signature down here and confirmed it with this SMT. If we want to see trend continue higher, typically we want to watch for this change in state of delivery to get confirmed here. So we'll see what exactly happens as of right now. But that was the C2 signature down here. Definitely looking to potentially go long off this imbalance. It's just really going to depend on whether or not price rejects aggressively off of the fair value. And if we do actually end up failing to inverse this, then it could lead to a failed short signature. So we'll see. But as of right now, I'm hands off on the market. Do you mind the fair value gap right above that on the 3 minute? I do mind this one as well. That's why I'm a little less keen on this, especially since we see that we had such an aggressive 1 minute at 136 over. So that's what we're watching for right now. Yes, we want all the logic behind the trade. Yeah, I got you. We'll get into that in just a second here. So yeah, we formed the SMT here, which was a C2 sweep. Now we see continuation higher, but we did sweep out a lot of liquidity up at these highs here, the mid 200 to high 200 highs. So honestly, for right now, probably just going to see a slow grind lower during PM session. If we look at YM as well here, kind of the same validation as NASDAQ. We're seeing this slow grind lower after having almost a 300 point retrace on those assets. So we'll see what exactly we can framework for today. I'll set an alert on this SISD, so while I do some trade recaps, we have more of an idea for whether or not this is going to play out. But without further ado, I think it's important that we get into some crucial trade recaps with all of you for today. Going to close these up and get the chart nice and clean. So let's do the first short analysis, which was my YM short of this morning. So first of all, I'm going to break down the hourly time frame. We'll actually go into replay here. That way I can better help you guys understand kind of what the framework was for my short signature, starting with the hourly time frame. So first and foremost, what exactly did we see occur with NASDAQ and YM for today? Well, we formed a major SMT divergence at the highs. And when we look at general trends, right, it's important to see where liquidity lies. And if we just pay attention to even these collection of wicks that formed during Wednesday's PM session, what exactly do we notice? Well, this was a crucial pivot in market that literally swapped trend from a very aggressive bullish trend into a bearish trend off of these wick collections, which means that market makers had enough orders to continue and pull price lower. That being said, during the Thursday session of last week, following this week, we saw a very, very, very slow hourly grind up back into these wick highs, which is where we originally faced a lot of the resistance on those trades. And so for today, which was one of the major things, the first confluence I used to help me dictate this short was the fact that we formed this major SMT divergence at the highs. And not even to mention that, but at these wick highs here where we saw that original resistance. And so when it comes to NASDAQ and also ES, which I'll open up on the right here, what exactly do we see? Well, we see that ES ended up forming a high and then sweeping out, aka manipulating the previous high here. And so manipulating this previous high followed by a lower high formed on YM showcases that YM is indeed the stronger asset in this series. Why is that? Some of you may be wondering. Well, when it comes to SMT divergence, the asset that is the manipulated asset, the asset that manipulates the previous high, you can consider as the artificially manipulated asset. Artificially manipulated asset, institutions wanted to pull price into the higher time frame liquidity to sweep more orders, collect more orders before sending price lower. And so ES in this example became the manipulated asset. YM became the leading asset, showcasing the true move, which was a lower high, signaling a potential bearish trend on this move. And so now with this being said, what exactly did I want to scout? Well, because YM was the leading asset in this pair, YM became my fixation for this short signature. But obviously, I wasn't up at the 5 or 6 a.m. window. And so all I was looking to see was whether or not we would get a continuation sequence lower by confirming the SMT as we approach the New York AM session. And so let's drop down into the 15-minute time frame now, see exactly what we can scout. Here we see on the 15-minute time frame what exactly occurs. We had the original SMT divergence where once again YM was the leading asset in this pair, followed by a very aggressive bearish trend that caused trend to continue lower. We had this very aggressive 6 o'clock to 6:45 or the 7 o'clock window where trend rejected off of the highs, confirming the SMT here on the 15-minute time frame. So if we just mark out this low here, we see that we confirm the SMT low at around the 6:45 window. And so true SMT here, but I'm not in on this window. I'm not up at the 6:45 a.m. Eastern window, since for me on West Coast, that is 3:45 a.m. So I did not end up taking this original short signature. However, this confirmed my bias into looking for shorts. And so all I wanted to do now was to dictate whether or not I could frame a continuation sequence in these shorts. And so what exactly did I notice here? Yet again, well, on the 15-minute time frame, we formed another gap on the 15, a fair value inside of a fair value here, which here, this was the hourly fair value, this is the 15. And within this gap, as we approached the New York AM session, what exactly occurred? Well, we saw the 845 candle formed a high. Versus when we look at NASDAQ in the same example here, what exactly happened with NASDAQ? Well, YM formed the high, YM formed an original high, NASDAQ ended up sweeping out the high. So similar to the first SMT divergence that we scouted with ES and NQ once again manipulated out the high, showcasing it was the weaker asset in this SMT pair. Then YM, on the other hand, ended up creating a lower high, showcasing it was the stronger asset within this SMT pair. And so with this confluence in mind, not only that, but to mention the fact that we were inside of a major gap, being the hourly fair value gap, and this 15-minute fair value gap, which we'll mark out as the 15-minute, this became really good confluence for me to now look for a continuation sequence. We see that trend is very aggressive, and as we know a general trend, markets don't just move in one direction very aggressively. Markets need what are called retracement periods in order to recollect orders before sending price lower. So here we see a bearish trend, and typically we want retracement periods where market finds ways to reaccumulate orders before building enough strength to continue trend lower. And so all this pre-New York session was from the 8 o'clock low that formed. We had a bit of some news that sent this candle quite aggressively. We saw a very slow bullish grind up into these gaps. And so this was just the correlation to a retracement period within market. And so now, retrace period, what do I want to do? Well, clearly the trend is first of all bearish. Second of all, we have formed a fair value gap. We've traced into the fair value gap, and now we want to locate to see whether or not we have an SMT divergence that we can confirm. And because we are trading the 15-minute time frame, we want to see if we can trade the 15-minute time frame and use a 1-minute aligning time frame entry. As I've mentioned, 15-minute, 1 hour, or 15-minute and 1 minute. That is your aligning time frame when it comes to trading, at least when you're trading the 1 minute. And so to confirm this SMT on the 1 minute, to confirm this 15-minute SMT, I used the 1 minute aligning time frame to confirm the actual entry signature. So let's now hop down into the 1 minute entry and see what we can scout here. And I'll use the replay tool as well so you guys can better dictate how I actually entered. First and foremost, we have these two gaps here, the 15-minute gap as well as the fair value gap, which was the 1 hour fair value gap. And so with this SMT, in order to confirm an SMT divergence, you need to see a confirmation with a change in state of delivery. And so here, the candle that led to this SMT divergence was this bullish candle that formed here at 9:29 a.m., 1 minute pre-New York open. That's an important note here, right? And so what does 930 do? 930 opens, forms the SMT, NASDAQ forms the higher high, YM forms the lower high, showcasing it was the stronger asset in this pair and also the asset that was the correct asset to trade. If it's the stronger asset in SMT, you want to trade the stronger SMT, which is YM in this case. And then within the first 1 minute of this chart, what exactly occurred? Well, the 930 closed below our change in state of delivery here. And so this now became your entry signature for this setup. So now all I was doing on this one was just scouting to see whether or not I could take this entry signature lower. But the big thing to note when it comes to finding short signatures, especially in higher volatility markets like the New York Open, higher time frame news, high impact economic news, which typically I don't trade, you want to see whether or not there are clear draws on liquidity. And because if we look at this 806 candle, this was a very aggressive news driven candle. We see that we went all the way from 46,589 all the way up to 46,758, about 200 points of a move within a 1 minute time frame due to news. And so because of this, I know that there was a lot of unfilled liquidity down at these lows, which gave me more framework and reason to believe that short signatures were indeed going to be valid in this case. Also, what did we notice? Well, during this bullish trace higher into our gaps, we noticed a bearish retracement that formed a pivot in market. And this pivot in market rejected off of this large 1 minute imbalance that also formed here, right? And so using this knowledge, I wanted my maximum take profit to be at this 806 low because we know that this is a very relevant draw that price can most likely make its way to. But also, if I want to manage my risk accordingly, I want to find a way to framework where that maximum draws, but also where I can manage my risk accordingly. And so for me, in a trade like this is a trade that is a lot larger than 2R. And so my break even period becomes at this pivot in market with my maximum TP being at the 806 low. So now let's enter this short position, and I'll enter it through the trading replay as well so you guys can better understand kind of how I frameworked and managed the risk on this trade. So first and foremost, my entry was a market order entry on the 1 minute time frame. My stop was at the protected high, which is the SMT high, and because YM is the stronger asset in this series, this is a very protected high. So if New York session decided to invalidate this and continue higher, well, that would have been probability taking me out of the trade and you move on to the next. But risk was defined. I had my break even zone. So a candle body closure below the 849 low signals a break even where I move my stop to a break even. Therefore, I'm in a risk free trade. And then my maximum target is this 806 low. And here, as we can see, this is a 4.1R trade, which is a relatively large amount of risk when it comes to this trade, or a large amount of profit anticipated for this trade. 197 points is quite a bit of movement, right? And so in a trade like this, typically around a break-even period is where I can consider taking a partial position or just fully closing out a position if we're not seeing aggressive movement in our intended direction. And so now we'll enter with a with a recap order here. And so now with this position, once again, my stop loss comes to the protected high here, and my TP goes all the way down to my 806 low. We'll confirm this entry here. And so now in order for this trade to be validated, I want to see aggressive moving into the zone, and a closure below the break-even period would most likely signal a continuation lower as well as a signal for a break even or risk free trade. So now if we just play this trade out, you see that the first 1 minute candle post entry leads to a retracement period before then continuing lower. And then what do we notice? Well, within a very small amount of time, trend quickly makes its way lower and closes at the 932 below my break even zone. So now I'm in a risk free trade since I put my stop to break even, or a little bit in profit if you want to cover the fees. And now my maximum take profit, you could either take a partial at this break even zone, or you just move it to slight profit to cover the fees of a contract and let it run all the way down to this 806 low. As we play this candlestick out once again, what exactly do we notice? Well, within less than a 6 minute period, we saw a 197 point short move on YM, leading to a beautiful, beautiful 4R short position. So, literally just by using a 1 hour higher time frame analysis, 15-minute SMT, hourly SMT, and confirming the SMT divergence within a gap fill on the 1 minute time frame, we were able to determine an extremely, extremely high probability trade just by looking where market wanted to move, just by looking where institutions wanted to fill order and then scouting where price wants to be filled. Large aggressive news candles, large aggressive economic candles typically lead to lots of unfilled price action. And so we want to use this to our advantage and be able to scout where exactly we can see market going, had that be the case. And so this was my first trade recap of the day. This was my first 4 hour trade. I ended up taking another 2 hour trade on NASDAQ later, which we'll get into later in the stream. But this alone created an extremely high probability for our trade. So, does that make sense, everybody? Do you guys follow? Let's get a 1 in chat, a little thumbs up or something. How does that make sense? Was that a good recap? Are we understanding? Also, yeah, Elias, the movement was fantastic today. Inverse full and yeah, true. Great trade. Thank you. I appreciate it. I took part of that short. Very nice. Yep. I can do oil analysis in just a second. Yeah. So this was an extremely high probability trade. And this is exactly how I trade non-stop. This is literally my model. This is all I do. It's a repetition of SMT and gap fill, finding the leading asset or the asset that is stronger in a correlating pair and trading that pair or trading that one of the two in that pair. That's literally it. That's the magic behind it. And so a lot of you that try to overcomplicate markets, you have to realize institutions are trying to move you into a said direction. But if you don't know where exactly institutions are trying to steal price before they push price lower or higher or wherever it might be, then you're not ready to present yourself in an active market scenario. If you keep explaining like this, nobody going to buy Discord because they all lean on this for free grade. That's the point of it. Free education, though. Free education. Free, free, free. So yeah, anyways, all in all, very, very solid day of trading for myself, just in terms of general price action. So I was a happy camper today, Chad. I can't lie. I was quite happy in terms of how the market moved. But I see that we have some questions in regards to oil analysis. Oil shorts are definitely the play here. That's all I'm going to say. Oil shorts look extremely good. I think we're definitely going to make our way back to the 111 here on oil very, very soon. So in terms of my analysis, what do I like about this? Well, we actually formed a gap here. We pulled into this gap and actually confirmed the continuation sequence. So for myself, I missed these shorts. I did see these form on the 15. Fair value gap here, same style of trading as I just mentioned in my analysis. Change in state of delivery. We confirm a closure below the change in state of delivery. That's a market order short entry. Stop at the protected high and then target a 1.5R. So for myself, definitely oil shorts look very good. My maximum draw would actually lie now down at these lows here. And we're seeing with very, very, very strong aggression here on the 15 towards this move. So it's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking a little too good where we're probably going to see quite a bit of some continuations form here. So we'll see what exactly happens with market in general, but it's definitely looking quite bearish on crude coming up here. So that's definitely one thing to make note of. YM as well. We can get out of the replay mode now, but it's looking aggressive. And YM, NASDAQ as well are also looking very aggressive now. Looks like we're going to get a bearish continuation on the one now, which is something to make note of. So, anyways, though, how is everybody doing in terms of trading today in general? Were we all making rational decisions, irrational decisions? How did we feel in general? Price action, I'd honestly say, was relatively smooth today. I would think it was an easier read than usual, just because there was clear draws on liquidity as well as good manipulation and continuation sequences. So I'm curious to know, chat, what did you guys think? Leo, do you trade GC? I do. Yes, I do trade GC. Big fan. Big fan of trading GC. Haven't been trading it as much recently. Commodities have been a little shakier for me than they were back in like October through December of last year, but definitely still trade GC. Silver a little less than I was. I honestly went on a wave with silver for a bit there. But I've slowed down a little on the silver side and now refocusing my attention back on indices since I know that there's been some I mean, wonky in terms of geopolitical news, but generally some pretty solid movement on it as well. Today was good, Leo and green. Nice. Can you break down the GC chart? I'll break down the GC chart just a second here. I appreciate the oil analysis. Yeah, oil shorts look really solid though. That's my rundown here. My rendition. Oil shorts look fuego. Yeah, those are probably going to definitely continue lower. So I think that's definitely not a bad call getting into those oil shorts. Yeah, CL looks really solid. Let's do a GC analysis as well for you guys. GC, see a little shakier on the 15. Looks like price wants to continue higher. We manipulated out these wick lows here. Now we'll likely see a continuation sequence higher. It's just not my favorite framework. I mean, if we look at the 15, this is a question for you, chat. What do we notice about the 15-minute time frame on GC? This is a question for everybody in chat right now. What do we notice about the 15-minute time frame on GC? What exactly do we notice about the 15-minute time frame on GC? Just very curious to know, guys. Range, right? Mega range. There's no true decision in market. It's like manipulate the low, manipulate the high. That's kind of the verdict with gold right now. So, would you be interested in trading that range? Yes or no? It's another question for chat. SMT, true. There is some SMT at the lows, but like generally, what I'm talking about is more so like when you look at this market, is this a market you want to trade when you look at GC? Why or why not? There is also supply and demand. There's lots of supply and demand in this market. But is this something you relatively want to trade? Like when you think about frameworks of market, is this something that you really want to trade? Do you want to hop on markets and trade this? Nah, it's an accumulation, right? It's a major accumulation zone. So there's lower probability of trend moving in your said direction because market is super indecisive in terms of where and how it wants to move. Versus something like indices, we can see more clearly where the price action lies. NASDAQ is currently making its way back into the 121 low. So this becomes a draw for us, right? We have a clear draw. GC, on the other hand, is very like it's going to trend higher slowly into this 530 high, but like realistically, chat, it's not that solid, right? It's really not that good. So I'm not a fan of this. I'm just genuinely not a fan of the GC price action. So I'd rather sit on my hands and preserve my capital than force a setup for something that's just indecision in markets, you know? So, yeah, chat, what do you guys think about the YM recap? Do we have any questions in regards to the YM recap that I just had? Seek and destroy. Yeah. There's supply and demand. There's also it is seek and destroy profiling as well. Correct. Do you have any questions in regards to that YM recap that I just presented to all of you? Because price action right now is a little slow, so I think there's going to be less on the live trading side and more on the educational side for me. So if you guys want or have any questions, want me to do chart analysis, my personal chart analysis in general, don't hesitate to shoot me a message in chat right now. Give me a little tag. Love to go through some of this with you guys just because this is my job. I'm a full-time trader, right? So I want to give you guys the full-time analysis for free as well, mind you. This is 100% for free, sponsored by the lab. So, just saying, chat. I'm just saying, but it's a pretty good gig. It's a pretty solid gig if you ask me, man. Just saying. Use initial balance too. I use initial balance. I've been using initial balance for options a lot more recently. Like SPX and stuff has been moving extremely clean with the initial balance move. So IB has been really good for me. So that's kind of been a framework that I've been trading a lot more recently. It's not a full-time thing, but I definitely do use the data from IB for like finding general moves in market. IB does move very clean. So now we're seeing this continuation sequence here. If we look at this, we're pulling into this fair value gap. So we've actually just confirmed a 1 minute continuation sequence on NQ. We actually did before. Actually, no, no confirmation yet. I'll remove this fair value. But if we look at this 1 minute, what moved into this, right? We want to see a closure below this to confirm a continuation sequence. Closure below this confirms a continuation where we can validate this, right? Closure, stop at the protected high, target a 1.5R. This would be the framework for the setup, by the way. What do you think of the current 1 minute continuation on Q? Just wow, great question. I was just going through that right now. Personal chart analysis, please. I'm trying to improve. I mean, that's what we're doing right now. I'm giving you the personal chart analysis fully right now. So there's a lot of that right now. So if you have a specific one in general, let me know. Do you trade options? I do. I swing trade. I swing trade and intraday options. Can I trade in 5 minute YM fair value gap? Is 1 minute not for me? Currently, you mean? I mean, there's not a lot of framework on the five, but I mean, it's bound to go short. I mean, we do have this fair value here. I would say be wary. The one is definitely giving a smoother entry for this than the five, but you know, personal preference. If you prefer trading the five over the one, go for it. Also, yeah, we're already up 8 points on this. I'm not in this position, by the way, but this short signature, the continuation sequence. We didn't confirm the entry though, so this actually doesn't validate a continuation yet. Do you look at gamma levels? I actually don't look at gamma too often. Delta and theta are my two primaries with options. As long as we inverse the 1 minute gap, that's also not a bad idea. Typically with an inversion, like if we wanted to inverse this gap, we'd want to see more of a V-shaped recovery. Like we want to see more of an aggressive V-shape rather than what we're seeing now is like continuation, slowly grind our way down, and then we inverse it, right? We want to see more clear dictation on move being the V-shaped reversal. See, we haven't confirmed, we've now just confirmed the continuation sequence. So this would be the valid trade entry here. This would be the valid short signature that you could take here, just as a heads up for you guys, chat. So here, obviously, this would be a continuation of 1.5. I'm less keen on this just because of how market's moving. Like, as I mentioned, I'm not too big of a fan of current market. We have quite a bit of conflicting confluences, and trend generally is a little indecisive. Trend is generally a little indecisive. So for me, I'm not in this, but I'm just mapping this out to better help you guys understand kind of how I approach market scenarios. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So yeah, here's that 1 minute. It was quite a big retrace on the one. Yeah, I'll look at the Bitcoin chart. Typically, I don't trade crypto. I don't trade crypto at all. So I probably won't give the best analysis since I have zero experience on crypto charts, but I can still give you a general rundown so you can understand. But just letting you know, I just don't trade crypto at all. I'm like, no, I wouldn't say I'm anti-crypto. I just don't have any experience with it and don't really care too much for it since futures and options do enough bread and butter for me. Just to be frank, help you understand. So there goes a bit of drawdown here. Curious to know how this is going to move on this one. We have 5 seconds till this closure as well. Got two of the charts open right now. Just looking, we're scouting it. Yeah, so Bitcoin sub low. What's up, Kappa? What's bopping, brother? How's it going? GG's. Yes, the information will be helpful. Can we see ticker or time frame you're on? Yeah, it's just because it's zoomed in a bit. I'm on NQ right now. I'm on NQ's ticker right now. I'm indeed on NQ. NQ on the 1 minute. This is NQ on the 1 minute. Information would be helpful. Sweet. Okay. Can work around that then. Reckon we could work around that. Crikey. All right, end of this 1 minute. Yeah, see, this is in drawdown. It's just a little boofy. This is like not good price action. Hence why I did not take this setup. I'm just not a fan of this PA at all. This price action right now is pretty buns. So less keen on it for sure. Can we see the ticker? Yeah, does that help? Do you understand kind of the time frame I'm on now? See, like lots of indecision here. Market's not sure if it wants to move higher or lower, fail this inversion. It's really just indecisive right now. But one thing we know for sure is that market does want to slowly make its way to this 121 low where we had this SMT. But in terms of how it's going to do it, I don't even know myself, right? That's kind of the indecision I'm facing right now. On the current NQ analysis, was there an SMT as well for confirmation? I actually have not checked for an SMT. I'm sure there was probably an SMT somewhere. We'll check. I actually haven't checked for an SMT here. So for YM, um, no SMT on YM here. For ES, yeah, there was no SMT for this confirmation, so that's already lower probability as well. All following similar trends, so it's just most likely going to be a slow chop lower. Is the general consensus. Sorry, not concisus. General consensus would be that we're probably just going to chop lower slowly but surely. Yeah. Yes, information on the current NQ. Not too shabby looking to lock in a payout this month. I've been focusing more on the process recently. Good trades and rule following. Love to hear that. That's fucking great. There we go, Kappa. That's huge. Does it matter what time of the day you're set up? Yes. New York Open, New York PM, and London. Those are the only times I trade. Realistically, you could use it. Um, realistically, you could use it for more, but um, yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It's you could use it for Asia session. I just personally don't trade Asia or anything like that. Asia has been insane recently. I've just completely missed all my opportunities, to be frank. So yeah, I'm not too keen on it. See, look at this. Just look at this market here. This 1 and 3 looks horrendous. Oh my lord. Yeah, Asia's been really good. I know it's been treating a lot of my friends really good as well. But for me personally, I don't really trade Asia. London, I like honestly more for myself. Yeah, see, gold is just slowly trending higher here, kind of as I mentioned. What is up, Alex? Dude, we just did a nice little recap on my NQ trade here, or on my YM trade. Chat, we still have an NQ trade to go through. Yeah, see, but this type of indecision in market is just not what you want, right? We kind of have this large 1 and 3 minute imbalance that formed, and what are we doing? We're failing to close below. If this doesn't scream indecision, it doesn't, then I don't know what does, right? Old me would be trading this chop right now. Yeah, save yourself the headache, dude, right? You just save yourself the headache. There goes the 36. What happened there? A bit of an aggressive move, that's for sure. All right, well, cheers, I guess, NQ. Bit of a move there, that's for sure. This 3 looks like it wants to continue lower. It's just doing its thing, man. It's just doing its thing, isn't it? Crikey, chat. Um, yeah. See, there's just no framework here. No framework in this market. GC as well, just chopping its way higher right now. Just not my cup of tea. Go to be honest, chat. Just not my cup of tea. Hey Pookie, what's up, Alex? Howdy, 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 howdy. Howdy, alligator. Yeah, this chop is horrendous. Oil bounced back from that fair value gap. Let's check CL out, shall we? Yeah. Does that surprise us? Nope. Not at all. I've been going through a tough time of trading, breaking last month, down this month. I'm 5 away from losing my only funded that I took my first bet. Any advice? Arturo, size down a lot. You need to rebuild confidence in markets. So genuinely, what I would recommend, trade with 1 micro. Focus on the process because right now your brain has switched towards the idea that you only have $500 left on your funded, right? You're $500 left away from max drawdown on your funded. So now all of your trade process is detailed towards your profits and not your process. The second you can detach from the profit and focus more on the process is when the quality of your trades is going to increase. So Archer, the best advice I can give you, 1 micro, 2 micro max, very light size. You're trying to save your account here and focus on the process. Hey, Leo, someone who made over 6 figures in other ventures, how do you suggest to trade smaller or bigger? Trying to figure out my approach as I've been trading over 6 months without a payout. Someone who made over 6 figures in other ventures, how do you suggest? Um, honestly, wait, trying to figure out my approach as I've been trading over 6 months without a payout. So my question for you is where do you I think my first question for you would be where do you assume that your issues lie with trading? Like where do you think your faults lie as a trader? That's my first before I can even answer the question, I need to understand. Also, chat, kind of as I mentioned on the stream here, look what we're seeing. Look what we're seeing. Also, we're gonna get a confirmation of this of this fair value, aren't we? Where is it? There it is. This 1 minute continuation sequence would have played out fully. Wow, that is aggressive, dude. Market is aggressive. Well, we swept out the low. Jeez Louise, man. Market is going. Look at this sell-off. Oh my lord. See that original continuation, but see, just not a fan like that at that point. That's just kind of gambling a low probability entry anticipation of price action picking up during PM session. Like I'm way less keen on wanting to take an entry like that because there's clearly less probability of it playing in your favor. So yeah, that's my first question for you, Ristinol. Cap, I didn't trade gold for 2 days. It's choppy. Yeah, gold's been super choppy. How many trades do you typically take that in a week? For me personally, I do about 2 to 3 trades a day. So multiply that by five. I take about 8 to 10 trades a week. That would be like my general. That's what I would say. About 8 to 10 trades a week. I think is a good number to give you guys. 8 to 10. This week is hard to trade. There's also a lot of news in regards like geopolitical news that's sending markets in different directions. So definitely not like the best thing ever, but makes it quite hard. Also, if you guys haven't already, make sure you are liking the stream and subscribing. We're at 1.8K on the Lab Live. We're trying to get to 2K end of week. We're on Tuesday. I know we can do it. What percentage of buffer do you risk per trade on funded accounts? Depends. Typically on 50Ks, I do 150 to $200 of risk per trade is my general rundown. Look at this. What is happening with this market? Horrendous. Not a fan of this, chat. That's for sure. Jeez Louise. Ay, ay, ay. This action is not good. Well, we swept out. We swept out the major draw here. We swept out that 121 I told you guys I was looking for at the start here. This week is hard to trade. Yeah, simple trader. That's typically what I would do. 150, 200, and just multiply that depending on your size. Tomorrow's FOMC meeting, correct. Correct. FOMC minutes tomorrow too. Yeah. Also I'm using the lab model. Nice. Rushing to hit the certain number for a payout, and after a few winning days, I lose confidence. You lose confidence after a few winning days. Do you size in heavier after a few winning days? Will this be valid long if it sweeps the lows? Market looks weak here. After this retrace, it looks weak. I'm less keen on watching for a trace higher here. I'm thinking market's just gonna plummet. Continue sending it lower. We'll see. Yeah, chat. I'm just watching this PA right now. Nothing super solid here. Yeah, we're just seeing it trend lower. It's just like it's kind of just making its way lower. It might even, we might see a long signature, a bit of a recovery, but I'm really not sure if we're gonna see too much other than that, to be frank, chat. It's not looking super solid right now. Yeah, not too much happening here. I'll check chat in just a sec. I'm just looking. Yeah, not much I can framework here either, to be honest with you guys. Yeah, it's just too much indecision right now. Like markets now sweeping out some draws and not really giving us a clear idea as to what we want. Yuleo, sorry if I was asked already, but it's initial balance. So it's the first initial move that a market makes upon open. So like when market opens, there's an initial, like think of it like the initial move of market. And you can use the first 15-minute move, the first 30-minute move, or the first 60-minute move. And you use that to detect kind of where exactly market will retrace into. Oil is scary. Took 2 trades today and oil both are break even. Gives a good direction, but doesn't give easy continuation. True as well. Very true as well. Yeah, if you went break even on that, that's an early break even. Your analysis today has been spot on. The trade on other segment was a great read as well. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we've kind of Well, I won't lie, we've been cooking a bit. We've been cooking a little bit, not too much, but we've been cooking a bit, just enough. Just enough sauce today, I think. Yeah, I'm quite happy. Today was a really good read for me. It's actually one of my biggest R days in a while. Did a 6 hour day today, so for me, that's pretty solid. I'm a happy camper with it. I can't lie. No complaints on my end here. See, look at these markets. Retrace higher, retrace lower. It's just lots of movement here. Lots and lots and lots of movement here. Like, look at this. Now we're just seeing a super aggressive reversal. Like, what is this? Like, there's just no reason to want to trade this price action at all. Sweeping out some other draws here. Will we continue lower? Will we continue higher? It's like you really don't know um, in these markets. It's making me not keen on it either, but yeah, I appreciate the analysis comment though. Definitely was feeling pretty good today in markets, just with general read and stuff. So I'm happy to know that people appreciated the analysis today because I was feeling pretty saucy today. I was feeling pretty saucy, quite saucy. Like, look at this market, dude. Like, what was the new 15-minute open? But like, what is the reason? Like another 30-point drop right off the bat. Like, it's just this is just not what you want to be trading, chat at all. We'll see what happens here. Yeah. Leo, do you trade the day before CPI? It depends. If I get a really high probability setup, I will trade the day before CPI, but it's very dependent. It's very situational. Like you can say that about most things. Like, do I trade pre-FOMC? Sometimes if a really good setup forms, but if I hop on market and market is immediately showcasing lots of indecision, then I just will be hands off and I won't trade it. It's really situational, depending on what current price action is reading. If price action is telling me we're chopping, I don't want to be here, you shouldn't be here, I'm not going to be there, you know? But if price action is being relatively smooth before CPI or FOMC, then most of the time I will be interested in taking entries. Although I'll probably, the one thing I will say is I do actually take lighter size though, for CPI and FOMC days. Yeah, that's one thing to make note of. Market's trending lower. See, look at this. Just lots of indecision there. I was there live trade you took. Yeah, hell yeah. Happy to hear it. Can you explain when you were talking about gap fill in your analysis? I would hop back at the beginning of the segment. I'm going to do another trade recap on my Nasdaq shorts from today that were taken live as well. These were some 2.4 hour shorts that I ended up taking today on the 3 minute, which I'll break down for you guys. Coach Fred, bonjour mec, comment ça va? Which futures props did you make profit today? I actually traded personal. I traded personal and I copy trade a bunch as well. So I copy trade Lucid, my funded accounts, and then I trade Top Step on the side. So I actually made money on my Lucid and Top Steps for today and personal. So Trade Sinker. Shout out Trade Sinker. Did the IB so Dre's, did the IB comment make sense though? Are you kind of understanding the gist of IB a little better now, or do you want me to clarify something more? So now we're tracing into this large 15 minutes. Curious to see how market reacts to that. Because we're now tapping into this fair value. So I'm curious to know if this 15 is going to reject off of it or just continue lower and say screw the market. Both are very feasible potentials here. Monsieur Leo, how's it going, Fred? Do you trade the? Yeah, okay. So we went through those. The algos and I was like nuts. I need to educate myself. Yeah, it's definitely a good. It's not a bad thing. Like data doesn't lie. At the end of the day, like market moves a lot based on data, right? Like data is a big mover for market in general too. So knowing your data and being backed by data can definitely help. That's why people backtest models and do a bunch of those things, right? It's because they're using data to determine whether or not they have a profitable system, if it's a system that could be used in place, things like that, right? So that's why I use data sometimes myself to help me with analysis. There we go. We're now pulling into this 15-minute. See if you reject off this 15. It'd be nice if we got like an aggressive move back into this big gap that's forming here. That'd be nice. I'd be a fan of that. Give me some of that, Nasdaq, would you? Um, Top Step introduced today for account. Really? Did they? I had no idea. Being nimble when against the trend and letting runners with the trend has been the key. It is indeed. This guy knows his way around markets. He's dabbled. Fred has dabbled a bit. Yeah, that's exactly it though. Spot on. Can't even argue against that, you know? Look at this. Now in this 15, and we're rejecting lower. Oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. This trend is just like this market's just annoying. It's like, is it gonna continue lower? Is it gonna retrace? Like we swipe out draws and it retraces temporarily and then crashes more and then retraces even more aggressively. There's really not a lot of decision here. Yeah, chat, going back to what I said, do we have any questions in regards to my trade recap from earlier? Do we have any questions in regards to the YM shorts for 4R I took this morning? Because I think that was a very good explanation, but I just want to see if you guys have any, longstanding questions or comments or concerns in regards to markets. Because I think while price action is a little indecisive, we'll treat this like education. I'll be your guys' teacher for today. Welcome to class. This is the Lab Live class hosted by Leo Invests and the Lab Live. It's University Lab. You guys are all attending Lab University, and your professor is Bray, Alex, Kane, Juno, and myself. So welcome to class, everybody. Super textbook short. Yeah, I mean, the shorts were pretty nice. Definitely quite nice. Looks like we're going to inverse this 15. 7 minutes until the end of this 15. Looks like we're most likely going to inverse it. Yeah, it's also a 5 and 15 gap here. See, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Is it gonna try? Now it's gonna reject higher. Imagine. Now it's gonna reject higher on this 5. Of course. When you say gap fill, you're talking about a pullback into a fair value gap. Yeah, pullback into a fair value gap is a gap fill, or that you fill it fully, like a wick fully goes through a gap. That's like technically the actual definition of a gap fill. Trend is your friend, man. At this point, I just like get a sell order and just sit on it all day. Just by 1 micro and just let this thing crash. Seemingly what seems like the good decision here at this point. Jeez Louise, man. Market makers are pumping up some sauce for us today. That's for sure. Look at this. All right, that's an inverse in the 15, 100%. CL is going to be an invalidation, although the shorts looked really nice on CL on the 15, and the hourly too looked pretty solid with that framework. NASDAQ is just bye. Bye, NQ. Have a good day. Hope you have a good day. NQ here at this point is just going to crash and crash and crash and crash and crash, dude. Oh my lord. Look at this. Look at this movement. We will see. At this point, chat, at this point, just take sells all the way down into the 11 o'clock low. I'm kidding. Definitely not a good idea, but just know that market is moving with aggression right now. That's kind of what I mean to say when I say get sells until the low of day here. Trading futures since 2001. I've been around indeed. There you go, Fred. He has indeed. Approaching new weekly opening gap. Yep. CL's wild. Definitely. Cool. Thanks. Yeah. FEG applies in higher time frame. Absolutely it does. Enter oil with 1 micro and got 2R but kept running for further low but break even. Same like London session. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. How do you look at ES, NQ, and YM at the same time while looking for SMTs on multiple screens? Split screen. Split screen. I typically only look at 2 assets at a time. So I'll be like, oh, I'm watching NQ and then I'll switch this to YM. Boom. Now I'm on YM. Right. Or up, I need yes. Boom. I'm on a yes now. That's basically all I do. This is all I do to scout. That's why I literally only need one laptop to trade. It's the best part about it. One laptop is just the magic. The magic of markets. You could literally trade with one laptop anywhere in the world as long as you know how to read a chart. It's quite cool, I can't lie. It's quite nice. Dude, NQ, dude. Oh my God, at this point, it's just gonna make it's gonna make a full trace back down to the 11 o'clock low. Jeez Louise, man. Can't catch a break. Genuinely can't catch a break. Oh, chat, look at this. Since that short signature, we're now what? Down 109 points since that 1 minute short signature I was giving you guys. Absolutely bonkers. Yep, well, she's gone. I think NQ's just gonna keep dripping. End of this 5. She's just gonna at this point just take cells. Just take cells and just rip them. Oh my lord. Genuinely can't catch a break on NQ. It looks like it's just gonna. It actually just looks like it's gonna bleed until the 11 o'clock low. I don't actually think it will, but it is, at this point, it's anybody's game, right? That's what it feels like. Opening this up here really quick. Jeez Louise. Look at this. Now we're tracing higher a bit here. There we go. Daily lows for yes. She's a runner. She's a track. Starts crashing. Seems Trump is out. Yeah, Trump is out the picture temporarily right now. We're now seeing market just send. Just send. That's gonna be a failed. That's gonna be a failed move on this fair value. So this one's gonna be the respected fair value. Really? That's gonna be the respected fair value of all fair values. You're gonna make this one the respected one, the final one in this series. That's tomfoolery. Yeah, keep asking questions in chat though, guys. I'm liking the gist here of all these questions from you guys. Thank you for these. These are great. Meant previous daily lows. Yeah. I was like, new weekly opening gap. Wait a minute. Yeah. PDL. Guys, say it with me. NASDAQ crash, crash, crash. Yeah. Not a lot here, mate. Crikey. Chad, I feel like I could be a mean scalp trader if I tried. I feel like I could be a mean scalp trader. I think I could get a good read on markets and just sauce up some scalp trading. Don't know how I'm feeling. Stuck up on a temporary feeling. Do you ever trail your stops? Yeah, I trail my stops sometimes. It does depend. I wouldn't say I do it too often, but most of the time I just trim runners. I'll trim positions instead of move my stop. I've just noticed that that works better for me. If I trail my stop, then I always feel like when I trail my stop, that market finds a way to my stop. But if I take partials, then I feel like market makers don't see those orders. So it's a weird conspiracy I have, but I feel like it works. Yeah, we're gonna reject off this fair value. See if trend pulls higher off this. The 5 looks 3's rejecting off of it, failed to inverse. Come see, come sa, chat. Come see, come sa, chat. Finally respected the fair value, right? Now it is. Dude, it chooses the last one in the series here. Last fair value in the series to reject off of. It's a temporary rejection that's going to continue lower. Market looks really weak right now. I'm assuming this is a temporary retracement before continuations lower. I'd be surprised if this happened to be a reversal period in market where we just somehow continue trend higher. I think that would actually surprise me quite a bit. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, good questions in chat though, guys. I'm liking it. Yeah, but just for transparency, yeah, I typically never trail my stop. It's literally just that I take partials on positions because I feel like for me personally, I've had a lot more success with that than just trailing my stop. It's personal preference, so I feel like it really depends per person, and like your style of trading. For my style, that's what's worked best with me, so I'm sticking with what works. Rejecting off this 1 minute fair value now. We have this 3 and this 1. Jeez Louise. Here's this 1 minute. Let's see if we reject off that, or if we're just going to continue trying lower off of it, which is also feasible. Respecting the fair value. I'm just going to watch, see how we react here. Waiting, waiting, waiting. So they're not going to give me clear direction. No trades for me. If they give me clear direction, trades for me. There goes a bit of a pop off the 1 minute. Tiny little pop off the 1 minute here. Nothing super crazy, but it's a small pop. Incy bincy pop. Chat, so what do you guys think is the primary issue in your trading? This is a general interactive question to chat. What do you guys think is one of the issues with your trading? Like, where do you think you as an individual or your TA or your psychology throws you off in trading the most? What do you think is what makes you not a profitable trader or a less profitable trader than you know you could be? What's that lingering thing in specific that causes that to be the case for you? I'm very curious to know in chat kind of what the general consensus is. Oh, there goes a nice aggression higher here. Big reaction off the fair value on the 1. Big reaction off the 1 here. Holy cow. Fair value held. For me, it's over trading for sure. Aiming for a target instead of trailing stops. True. When I go from green to red, it causes me to tilt. That is a classic. Classics. We got some classics in chat here. Yeah, I don't blame you guys on that. Now, how do you think you as a trader could help yourself veer away from a situation like that? What do you think could be a way that you could help yourself from a situation like that? Is there anything in specific you think would really help you push away from that mindset? Wow, what was that move? Was that yeah, it was a 20-point move off that. Jeez Louise. Cheers, NASDAQ, I guess. Do your thing, NQ. Do your thing. Pop higher now. This is actually going to be the respected fair value. There's no way. Was not expecting that, chat. That was actually the respected FEG. This 3 minute here. Jeepers nuts, man. Oh, and there goes a reaction to this fair value. I spoke too soon. I spoke way too soon here. Reaction off this 3 now. Off this 1 and this 3. Less screen time and journal every trade and logic behind that. Oil setting up nice again for shorts. Is it? It is. Yeah, it's actually forming pretty nice here off the 15 again. But it'd be a wide stop on this. Be a relatively wide stop. Look at this. Like now we're ranging between these fair values. It's just like not fun to trade that. It's just not fun to trade, man. I'm scouting this YM as well. Same kind of thing here. Just kind of rangy. Pretty rangy here in between these large imbalances because we have these random high PA candles that lead gaps in market that are unfilled. And then it's market makers are deciding where to push trend. And you're like, whoa, what is happening? Right? Really not solid movement here. But yeah, we'll see. Chat, let's get some ones in chat if you guys want me to do a recap on my NASDAQ shorts. I did a recap on my 4R YM shorts, but who would want to recap on some 2.4R NASDAQ shorts I actually took live on stream? Would that appeal to you guys? Would you guys be interested in seeing me recap my short position? My second short position of the day, my second and only short position of the day. Very curious to know what the verdict is in chat. Would you guys be interested? Would you not be interested? Type a one in chat, thumbs up, something like that. Let me get the general consensus from chat. Yes, please. Okay, we'll give it a few minutes. I want to see how this plays out, and then we will recap the NQ trade. Fair value, rejection, rejection, rangy, rangy. I want to see if we can validate a continuation sequence lower here, because I might be interested in wanting to take this if market presents well here. If market presents well off this sisty, then I would be more interested in it. We'll see though. Just gonna wait and see how market plays. Ideally look for closure here and use this closure confirmation to tag into these 255 lows. That would be really nice personally. Oh, and now we're gonna wick back into a green candle. Of course. Of course we will. Because NASDAQ loves to do that. Oh, there we go. Full rejection. Really want to see trend continue lower though, ideally. Done for the day, locked myself out. Very nice. Well done. Thanks, mate. Yeah, of course. See you tomorrow. Yeah, have a good one, boss. I'll be live tomorrow morning from 6 to 8, so make sure you tune in. I'll be here. This is the home for me, so I'll be here. I'll be at home. Oh, see if we get this 1 minute closure here. If we get this 1 minute closure, I might try light size on this. Might try light size on the Sisty here. Sisty, instead of the protected, I'm not even gonna use the wick high here. I'm gonna go quite aggressive with risk. I'll probably just trade this on an eval as well, not on my real funds, just because I'm not the biggest fan. I'll probably do an eval trade on this. Looks like we're gonna get closure confirmation here as well. Taps into the fair value, gonna give us the validation we're looking for on this too. It really depends on if we actually get this closure, but by the looks of it, we will. Got this 3 minute FEG here. Closure confirmation in 3. Wow. There's our closure confirmation. Watch for retracement. See if my limit gets filled. If not, that's just going to be a runner. Limit would be at the 24,095. Okay. See what I mean, chat? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? We'll do the NQ recap instead. Thoughts? What do we think, chat? Are we more of a fan of the NQ recap than watching this PA? I think I am as well. Look at this aggression, man. Oh my lord. Look at this candle. We just popped up at a random time. 12:08 candle, and market just sends it. Sends it what? 40 points within 3 to 6 seconds? Nasty PA, dude. It's a scam candle. Holy cow. Not fun. Don't want to get involved in that. Luckily I didn't even get in my limit. Bless. If I got in my limit, I would have gotten screwed. Look at this PA, man. This is ridiculous. Absolute tomfoolery of PA. Does it trend higher? Does it trend lower? We just have no idea at this point, right? At this point, it's like you might as well just flip a coin. Are we going up or down? That's it. That becomes your bias, is flipping a coin. That's insane though. That wick. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw that open. What was the point value on that? I'm very curious to know. What was the point value on that? That was a 50 point. It was a 50 point candle in about 3 seconds. Less, maybe? Holy bejeebers, man. That was actually a 3 point. That was a 50 point candle in about half a second, dude. Right at the 12. Oh, right at the 308, by the way. Right at the 308. Very relevant time frame. At least it was only on the eval. Yeah, I didn't even get my limit in. I was setting my limits. I didn't know price was going to move aggressively. I didn't even get to set my limits, so no trade at all. Luckily, got saved actually on that. Would have probably gotten slippage and lost like $300 more than I wanted to on the eval too. So we got saved. Bless for my slow loading here on my evals. It's kind of fun going through this with all of you though. We're all in a universal experience here of wondering what market's going to do, and that's kind of a fun game from time to time. Alrighty, let's get into an NQ recap because clearly this isn't what we want to be at right now. So NQ analysis it is. So guys, NQ recap, very similar to the style of trading I mentioned to you guys quite often. Very similar to my YM recap from this morning. So I think it's important that we go through this so you guys better understand kind of the gist of how I like to approach markets in general. First and foremost, very similar to our YM analysis here, except on NQ. What exactly did we notice here on the 30-minute time frame? Well, we had 30-minute SMT within a gap fill. So typically for myself, I was not awake during this period. I actually was awake during this period. I just missed this original entry since I was in YM shorts because NQ is the leading asset. We saw SMT divergence within a gap fill, as I mentioned. And so SMT in a gap fill on this 30-minute fair value gap, typically I want to look for a continuation sequence here. We already formed a C2. We confirmed a C2 closure here. So this previous 30-minute, the 6:30 confirmed this change in state of delivery, validating this as a candle 2 sequence. We then open up the new series here from the 6 to 10, where we see this SMT divergence within gap fill, which leads to what? It leads to a short continuation sequence at the 9:30 open. So NASDAQ continues lower here. Using this framework here for NASDAQ continuing lower, what exactly can I do now? Well, with this, I want to continue to see whether or not trend is going to continue lower because here, the one thing that we hadn't swept out was this major draw from the Sunday, April 3rd open. So all I wanted to do now was find a way and find framework for me to be able to take this short signature even lower, right? That's a big thing. We want to see if we can take this continuation signature even lower into this relevant draw on liquidity. But here we also formed on the 30-minute this low at the 10 o'clock, which was one of my targets for this trade. So hopping into the aligning time frame being this 3-minute, what exactly did we see happen? Well, this is the original confirmed SMT divergence that we confirmed at these highs. Okay. With this SMT divergence now, what am I looking to see? Well, we confirm the SMT. This is the exact same trade, except I took this on YM. This is the shorts I took on YM, just NASDAQ. And NASDAQ was the weaker asset, hence why I didn't trade it. See, NASDAQ also gave us more drawdown here. So that being said, what exactly happens? What exactly happens? SMT, confirm it with a SIST, trend continues lower. We then form, as we approach the 10 o'clock, we form a ton of gaps. We then open up the new 30-minute candle, being the 10 to 10:30, where we frame and we pull into this imbalance here, being this fair value gap. Once we pull into this fair value gap, what do we form? We form yet again another SMT divergence. But before this SMT entry, what exactly did I take? Well, we trace into the fair value and we closed below this 3-minute change in state of delivery here. So this SIST closure at the 1039 confirmed my entry signature where I took a market order entry and put my stop at originally at the protected high, which was this 57-point stop and targeted a 1.5 R towards those lows. Okay. So this was the original entry for me. Ended up taking that. Following that, we saw a little bit of indecision, then saw aggressive drawdown at the 1045 being the new 15-minute open. With this new 15-minute open, what also occurred? Well, we formed an SMT divergence in none other than a gap fill. And compared to recently, this was actually an asset strength switch. Why was that? It was a strength switch because trend originally Nasdaq was the weaker asset in the pair, and now it was the stronger asset. YM became the weaker asset. And so Nasdaq with the strength switch gave me higher probability that the short signature was going to work out. And so with this SMT here, I waited for a confirmation below already with the original entry, but instead now once we confirm the SMT, I can manage my risk accordingly by moving my stop lower. And so rather than having the original protected high, I now use the low of the leading SMT, which is now a 38-point stop instead of a 57-point stop. So utilizing this protected high now, what I see is we see a closure back into the range, putting me out of drawdown. We confirm the SMT at the 1048, and following the 1048, we saw a very aggressive move into the 10 o'clock lows, and then also bringing us into our weekly lows, being the Sunday lows here at the 23,981.50. So using the exact same framework using the exact same framework I did with YM in terms of SMT and gap fill, I was able to locate a secondary trade for a 92 point trade. And this was taken completely live on stream as well. So, honestly, very, very solid short signatures. This was the exact same framework for what I usually do with you guys, just traded a different asset. And Nasdaq went from the weaker to the lagging to leading asset, and this is exactly how I traded it. So all in all, extremely solid day of trading for myself, and managed to just use the same entry model twice, once on YM, once on Nasdaq, to confirm some really, really, really high probability trades. And that is how we secured a beautiful 2.4R on this trade. Originally, it was a 1.5R, but with our managed risk, it was a 2.4R trade on this position. So pretty solid if you ask me, chat. I'd say there was definitely some good analysis in terms of how we approached markets and definitely the general read for trend today. So I'm quite happy about my performance in trading today. But do we have any questions in those regards? And in the meantime, make sure you guys are also liking the stream if you have not already. But do we have any questions from anybody in terms of price action, my trade entry signature, anything of that manner? If so, feel free to shoot me a message right now. I would love to answer your question. Anything at all. The floor is all of your guys's, so don't hesitate to ask. Wow, we are seeing some aggression in markets today, man. Look at these ones like hammer candle, rejection, rejection, rejection. Jeez Louise. Any questions? What gave you short bias, the higher time frame, that 30-minute analysis? We had SMT and confirmed a C2 bearish signature. So all I did was I used the C3 and C4 continuation sequence. But higher time frame was screaming bearish. So all I did was pop down to a smaller time frame and use that bias to help me better dictate an entry. That was it. That was all the sauce from today. That was literally all the sauce used for today. Used 100% of my sauce. That's what gave me the bias. Closing out trades of fear instead of, yeah, fair enough. I think that's a good idea. Here, I'm trying to load up my stats from the day here so I can give you guys kind of exact entry times. Closing out trades out of fear instead of this I am for, and then destroying my monthly R. Yeah, exactly. Out of fear instead of trusting the process, right? So learning to back yourself up by your data and by your entry signature is going to help you really increase your confidence when it comes to markets. So it's imperative that you actually really look for these type of trends and these type of models. Make sure that when you are trading, you're really looking and ensuring that you're trading within your entry signature, right? That's what's going to yield much better results for you. Also, like, look at this. What is the reason behind these 1 minutes, dude? Like, we're seeing 50.1 minute candles form out of nowhere. Like, legit nobody's business, man. It's insane. Like, where's the sauce, man? Holy cow. Look at this 1 minute here. This is just diabolical. It's a 30-point retracement now on this. This is insane. Insane, I tell you, man. This is crazy. See if we even trend higher off this. Jeez Louise, man. Somebody stop NQ. NQ needs to retire. Like stat, actually. Look at this. Another one. Chat, this is the most insane PM session. 1 minute, 67-point move. Like nobody's business, chat. Oh my lord. Chat. What did you get in the Lucid box? I got a 40% off coupon. Random spikes are insane. Chat, this is just super unreliable. I'll probably call it end of the stream relatively soon here. We did the educational recaps I wanted to. What did Trump say, right? That's the question we're all asking, actually. That is literally the question we were all asking. What is Trump saying? That is the only reason you'd have markets moving exactly like how they are now. Like, this is diabolical, dude. Oh my lord. Ah, look at this. We're going to have another 50-point candle. We're going to recover the entire New York AM session. We're actually going to recover the entire session. I think we did. Yeah, we just recovered we just recovered the full New York Open. Yeah, oh my gosh. Chat. How insane is that? Oh my lord. It's all a scam candle. Yeah, like this is gonna be 140 points in like 2 minutes. 115 points in a 2-minute candle. We're gonna send Leo's own rocket to the sky. Yeah, Elise, you're not wrong, dude. Ah, oh my God. This is why I told you guys I was less keen on shorts too, by the way. But I was wrong. I was wrong. I was also wrong. Like you can't make this up, dude. It's just flying. Oh my God. It's gonna be 200 points now. 144 points, chat. This is like not even real. Oh my God. Somebody help NQ. Save its soul. Dude, NQ's screwed. Did we just solve world peace? It kind of seems like it at this point. This is insane. This is diabolical, chat. Yeah, more reason for us to stay off the charts. Crude. Oh my God, crude on the 15, by the way. Rejection off the fair value. Did somebody say CL shorts? Chat, this is untradeable price action. Oh my Lord, this is super untradeable. Chat, one sec. I need to get this on it. I need to get this on an Instagram picture here. What in tarnation is this? I need to get this. Most unpredictable. Crazy. Lots of bears getting trapped. Now look, now we're tracing in. Watch us respect this 1 minute and just rocketeer higher as well. 0.59% move on NQ that quickly is just like that should not be allowed. Like I feel like there's got to be limitations to market when you have price action like this because markets are losing a lot of money but also gaining a lot. Interesting PM session. No kidding, right? No kidding. You don't say. Like this is insane. This is genuinely the most crazy I think I've ever seen PM session and or not maybe not the most crazy, but it's definitely up there with some of the most intense PM session that I've seen. Yeah. Look at this. Let's see if I'm just curious to see if we reject off of this. If we reject off this fair value and just like trend higher here, it'd be insane. Like a quick like 150 point move candle. Asia and London have been so much better to trade lately. Yeah, 100%. I mean, this right here is a clear dictation as to why we don't want to be involved in markets. First time in a while, PM session is alive. I don't know if it's alive or if it's just it's an undead. It's a zombie. I think is what because like the PA shouldn't be here right now. Considering FOMC minutes tomorrow as well, like the PA shouldn't be here, but we're seeing the PA. Dude, Chad, this is insane. And this 15 on crude. Like, look at this. 6 minutes on crude. 6 minutes on crude. Full $2 move within 6 minutes. Probably less. Within 2 minutes. $2 move within 2 minutes on crude. Oh my lord, manipulation is nuts. Yeah, no kidding. Well, chat. Unpredictable. Unpredictable. Well, chat, I hope regardless, I'm just curious. Those of you in chat right now, do you guys enjoy these style of streams? Like, regardless of whether or not we're trading or not, what do you guys think of these style of streams where I'm kind of doing a mix between education and live market analysis? Give me a thumbs up. Give me some type of message indicating whether or not you like these. I'm just curious to know. Do we enjoy these type of sessions where I'm doing like an education live trading mix? What do we say? Yes, we love that. Awesome. Love to hear that. Love, 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 love to hear that. I'm just curious to know. Yes, love that. Yes, my favorite type of streams. Love it. Simple trader. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, chat. I think we're honestly gonna end a session early here. I know we typically do 2 hour sessions, but sticking around this price action is gonna only make you want to make more irrational decisions. And so the smart play here is to just remove yourself from market. Would be cooler if it sells all the way down again. I don't know about cool, but yeah, I agree. It'd be interesting to see. Yeah, see these type of streams regardless, chat. But I think for me personally, I'll be hopping off because it's just like I don't want to make irrational decisions and try and framework something on price action that's not good. I've already locked out my accounts, but it's just like sitting around these markets is just a headache. Like full honesty, chat, it's just a headache being around these type of markets. It's like you're reading a toddler tantrum. If anybody understands that reference. It's like it's so indecisive here that it's like why do you want to even get yourself involved in something that's clearly not decisive, you know? Just doesn't feel like a rational decision to make. So, just saying, chat, but for me this is definitely an area that I don't want to get involved in. Trending lower, trending lower. Kind of scary to see that. Yeah, we might just continue lower here too. Like there's a chance we just continue lower here as well, to be 100% honest. Once again, now we're moving another 15 points in a 1 minute candle. Like this is feels like gold PA from December. Take care, Lo. You as well, Wick. Have a good one. Very true. I'd be trying to frame something right now, and there's no reason to. But the thing is, regardless, if you know there's no reason to, so many of you are still gonna try and frame something, and it's just gonna destroy your accounts. Gonna destroy your accounts because you're trying to frame something that's just not feasible. You know, it's just not a presentable market. But like you're sitting here and you're like, but I could. What about this? What about that? That's just not how you want to trade at all. These are the candles people lose evals. I'm sure people that like really big affiliate folks are making some bank right now off of today's market. Like this is the type of market you'll see affiliate makers doing like 100K days, especially PM sessions. So best to hop off the charts here. But chat, I'm gonna be honest here. I think I'm hopping off the segment for now. Kind of really not feeling getting involved with this price action. Just, I'd rather save my mental sanity and my enjoy the rest of my day without having to sit through this PA. So although it is an earlier session than usual, we're ending earlier than usual. I'll be live for New York AM session tomorrow. I believe, let me check who's on schedule with me. But yeah, we're gonna have a fun day tomorrow, regardless of live trading with everybody, which will be super fun. So make sure you guys are staying tuned, getting involved on these streams, liking, subscribing if you have not already. Tomorrow for AM session, it will be Alex and I on the Wednesday AM session. So it should be a really, really fun session tomorrow as well. So make sure you guys are staying tuned in general, just liking, subscribing, turning on notifications. And without further ado, guys, I will be calling it end of day, and I'll see you all for tomorrow's live trading. And yeah, everybody, have a great rest of your Tuesday afternoons. Have a splendid rest of your days, and I will see you all in the very next stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Bye now, everybody.